Hey guys, I'm having some difficulty here. I have to turn this around if I can find it on this thing. Had it all set and now it's all bonkers. So just be patient. Hand tilt, no. What's this? No. Camera. Advanced settings. Oh, come on. Found it. Just a minute, I think. Shoot, I can't find it. The mirror. I can't see what you guys are doing. Just hold on. There is a spot where I can change the picture. And I can't find it now. That's not what I want. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna have to. I think I can turn my video around. I don't know if I can. I have a new tripod now, so I don't know if I can change this for you. Oh, I wish I could find the freaking thing. Coder, advanced settings. No. Shoot. Resolution. Square, no. Duration, no. Border. It's custom. Streaming, no. Focus. White balance. Sorry. Image adjustments. Autofocus. Advanced chroma key. Image adjustments means that. Advanced. I found it. Here it is. Vertical and horizontal. There we go. Jeez. Sorry. Okay, I got it. Sorry, guys. I gotta zoom in a bit, but I got a new tripod, so yes, I found it. I'm not a techie person, but I found it. Oh, Lord. And I got a new well, I haven't got it hooked up yet, but I did get a new camera that I have to play with, but I won't I won't burden you with testing that out. Okay, we want autofocus off. And bring you in a little bit. There. All right, I'm not going to play with it now. Yeah, I know, Janet. Is it focused enough, though? Could it be a little more focused? Maybe a tad. How's that? That's better. I had it all figured out, and then darn thing. All right, it's gonna have to do. Yeah, that was the last thing we did last week, and it was for more of a, what would you call it, fantasy type of girl, out of your head, not from a reference or anything. This was done with pastels. Very easy to do. It just takes a little practice, Janet. But yeah, hi to everybody. Sorry for the delay. I had to figure things out, and then new things for your streaming. I had to figure that out too. So, but I hope everybody's having a great day today. Chloe won't be bugging me. She's upstairs. She's still on painkillers, but I think she'll be okay. The vet didn't find anything, so she's thinking maybe it's a strain. But yeah, but she'll be okay. Oh, thanks, Laura. So I thought today we could do a 3/4 view. I know there's a lot of people that kind of, they don't want to draw 3/4. I guess they figure it's too complicated to get the proportions correct. But once you figure it out, it's probably one of the better face poses that you should do, because it's more interesting. Everybody you see that do portraits or girl paintings or drawings from their memory, they always do a front on, and it's sure you can do beautiful backgrounds and everything, but the portrait doesn't tell a story. And when you start angling the head, it gives it attitude, it might tell a story, it just gives the whole page a more interesting look. So that's what I would like to do today. So, as you know, I do like this book. It's one of the better books. It's very easy to read. It's not difficult to figure out. And the Loomis method, he does the ball, which is quite easy. Paper here. And where'd my pencil go? There it is. Okay, so normally the ball look is, his idea is that your head starts, the main part of your head up to about your jawline, so where your nose is usually round. If you look at it in all directions, from the back, from the side, it looks round. And then you add your chin. So your jawline would be about here. So you just, depending on if it's a male or female, you can put your chin line in here. So then this would be where your nose is, right here. So I'm just putting a line to show you. And then your mouth, again, you still have to go with your divisions that I taught you. I'll get the sheet out. A bunch of papers here to show you. Okay, so you're still going with the same proportions. So this line is the center of your head, going vertical and horizontally. So this line, so it goes through your eyes and down the center of your face. This still applies to any angle that you do. So half from the nose, which is this line here, to your chin, you cut it in half and it'll give you approximately where your mouth would be. And then your chin would be right here. And you can fix up your lines accordingly. But I'm just giving you an idea how this method works. So what he does is he puts his vertical line down. So wherever his center of his round circle, that's where your eyes would go. Ooh. Let me put my erasers. I cleaned my desk off and now I can't find anything. Okay, so one eye's width between your eyes approximately. It can change depending on people. Some people have smaller eyes, some people have bigger eyes. And some people say an eye's width on both sides, but I find it's usually about half, but I'll leave that up to you. And then your eyebrows would go here. So what he's done is he's drawn a bunch of circles. And let's say I'm going to do a 3/4. Now, this circle you have to think of as dimensional. It's a form. So it's not flat. It's round. So your lines, the vertical and the horizontal line, if you're going to do anything but a face on, has to be curved because your ball, your head is curved. Okay? So now this part here, if you put the jawline in, so this will be where your face is. Okay? So if you look at here, here's his cross, and this is what it looks like. So this here is where the brow line is, or the eye line. He's got the brow line on his. So the brow line would be closer because you can't see all of that one side of the face. And then your eye would be here. Your nose is here, and it's going to stick out. This line doesn't have to take the shape of your nose. It's just a reference of where the center of your face is. So if you didn't have a nose, that's where your center of your face would be. So you're still thinking of your proportion lines. So half of this take some of these out for you. Let's see what I'm doing. Okay. So usually the nose, because I'm looking up slightly, because it's not in the center. If it was in the center but looking sideways, it would be right around here, but it's up here. So he's looking up. So the nose, in this case, would be not on the center, which would be down here, because the line would be here, and then the nose would be down here. You're looking up, so you're going to see the underneath of his nose, and it's going to be shorter than what it would look like. And then his mouth also would be shorter. So you're still going to see where his eye is on one side, but on the other side, depending on your reference, if you're doing a reference, you're not going to see the whole eye. So you might just see part of the eye. So what I want you guys to look at, here's another, I got an egg. This is a good way of looking at it. So if you're looking at a person straight on, there's your guidelines that you would typically use. Okay. Now, if he was looking down, see how you can see more of his forehead and the top of his head, but the space between the mouth and the nose and the chin is very small. So if he's looking up, goes the other way. You can hardly see any of the forehead. You would see the underneath of his nose and the underneath of his chin. Okay, so get an egg or a ball or something and draw lines on it, and it does help. Or even a Barbie doll head. Get a doll head and put it on a pencil, and then you can tilt it to see the angles. Same with, see, if I'm curving it 3/4, you can only see part of his eye. If I'm tilting any 3/4 up, see where the cross section is right here? So this helps you understand it. If you, it would be really good if you got a Barbie doll or some kind of a doll that you, like a adult doll, depending if you want to do kids, you could use a baby doll, and tilt the head. See, and that way you will see how the head looks. There's a down position, so you would see, you wouldn't even see the mouth. You see the top of the head. Okay? So if you do that, that's a good way to help you if you're doing it out of your head, a drawing for something. That's a great way of looking at things. Another way, if you're drawing it by reference, I use these books. They're great. Models like Elle and The Short Hair, they have tons and tons of head tilts. Here's one. So here's the center. See how it curves? I should use a marker. I put all my markers away. Nope, that's not one. Okay. So here's the center of her mouth. Too much light. Oh, that's okay. And then across her eye, it goes in a curve. And notice the curve is going up because she's slightly looking down. So this also brings in perspective again. This is why I taught you about the perspective. So when she's looking down and you're facing her, you're seeing more of her forehead. So the lines, if you were drawing lines on her, it would be curving upward. Same with her mouth. Okay. Let's see what else I got here. There's another one, 3/4. Again, it's the down. She's looking down again, so we're going to have, so we wouldn't go straight across. We've got a slight curve. So from the corner of her eye, same with her nose and her lip. But notice, you see the full eye. When there's usually a 3/4, a lot of times you see her eyes looking in this way. So the eye's on one end of the eyeball. So you're seeing a lot of the white of the eye. Whereas here, the bridge of her nose, which is here, it's covering the very corner of her eye. And you don't really see the other end either. It kind of stops. And you're seeing the shape of her brow more and her cheekbone. Okay, so a lot of times too is the eye. This eye is normal size, but this eye will be a little bit smaller because it's further away from you. So when you're drawing, you have to think about these things. Also, the ears are really important. If you have a drawing or a reference with ears showing, because if their head is tilted, her face is tilted down slightly, her ear level will change. So her ears are above her brow line now, where before, if it's straight on, the ear would be lined up with her eye level, between her eye and her brow, but it's way above her brow now. And if she's looking the opposite direction, if she was looking up, her ears would be way, way, way down. So this is kind of like a center point. Everything rotates from here. But it is important when you're drawing people and their ears are showing. Here's a good one. She's looking up. This is very foreshortened because you're seeing her body. You're seeing the very top of her head. So if you were going to do the Loomis way of drawing, this part here would be what you would be drawing. And then her jaw would come off of that ball. But again, curves. But you have to remember, instead of equal thirds, it's no longer equal thirds because the head is much bigger now. So instead of having the eyes from here to here should be half, it's not. It's more than half. It's more like 3/4 of the skull will be showing, and the lower part is much closer together. So get a book out, because look at all the gorgeous slants of the head, and the eyes are looking a certain way. They all have attitude, and they're fantastic to draw. I would suggest getting one of these and try drawing a lot of these. Not necessarily detailed, but draw a character sketch. So just an outline and where her basic features would be. So you can get that down on how your horizontal and vertical guidelines line up. Here's another one. She's looking up, foreshortened, but this was more foreshortening of the body. But you're seeing her looking up, but it's face on basically because the camera's face on. But it gives you a really good indication of how to position the eyes, nose, and mouth because of the tilt of the head. And you can have different tilts. Let's see. Loomis shows some really good tilts. So here, tilted to the side. So this part of the features are really squished together. Here's the looking up. So it has a very, very short forehead, and you can see the underneath of his chin. So the chin no longer, you know, is shaped like this. It's concaved because you're seeing the underneath. Here's one for skeletal. If you really want to get into a little bit of anatomy, this is a really good book because it gives you the main bones and muscles that once you know where they are in your face, it helps you draw because you've memorized that those are in those places, so the face will round out or concave or whatever. And he gives you lots of ideas on, you know, the tilts, what you're seeing, the back of the head sideways, how it lines up. But really, it's all about visually looking at stuff, really studying what you're doing. And even if you're just going to be doing some character drawing, pretty girls or whatever you want to call them, you can still use this type for a reference. There's a nice 3/4. So is everyone with me, or have I lost y'all? Just looking at chat, see if anybody has any questions. Totally watching and listening. Am I explaining it good enough? Because give me questions, guys. This is what perfect time to ask me stuff if you're not figuring it out yet, because I'm more than happy to show you. That's what I'm doing these videos for. So I want to get this creative drawing bug into you. Because it's so cool. This can go for animals even, because you're using the drawing tools I gave you for the horizontal and vertical lines. It all applies to everything. The perspective. It makes you think when you're drawing. Yeah, the egg, I was trying to think, well, I haven't got any plasticine, so I thought, an egg, of course. But it really helps. What you could do is blow out an egg and just keep the shell if you want to do that. Or get a Barbie at the dollar store and use it. I think the most of us got that. Oh, yes, the wooden die. Yeah, but he's faceless. Unless they have one that's got a face now. I don't know. But, you know, everybody has different shaped faces, too. So I'm not going to get into that right now. But not everybody has a nice, pretty, oval, egg-shaped face. Some people have a square face. Some people have oval. Some people have a round face. So that's why I really, really like the idea of using these types of books to look at the face. I give him. So let's see. Okay, so if I were to, let's draw this lady with the whatever it is she's got on her head. It almost looks like a bathing cap. That's what it reminds me of. Does it remind you of those old bathing caps? So if I were to draw, now this isn't going to be a realistic face, so I'm not going to have to, but 3/4 I'll do. So I'll put my lines in so I know where I want my features. Now, if you want, you can do the ball effect. If you find that's easier for now, because after a while, when you do enough of these, you won't need to put these lines in or do the ball and then the chin. But this, I find, if you stop doing it, sometimes you have problems. So, and you can always erase these, so put them in anyways, it'll help you. And women and men have different jaws. Women have more of a softer, rounded jaw, where a man has a more, usually a square jaw, but that can change too. But we'll just do something pretty, I guess you could say. So, and always look at your reference. Some have larger a brow line than others. So this is where my nose is going to go. So I'll just rough in my nose. So the should go down to about there. And if it's, you can do the nose part that I showed you. Remember I did the ice cream cone type of thing with the wings. Get your stump, shade it in. Xandra had some difficulty with smudging. I'm not sure what kind of pencil she was using, but you do need 2B or HB should give you some graphite so you can move it around. But don't go into the H's. Those are the hard leads and they're very difficult to move. This one here is, this is an 8B, but I'm using it so you guys can see what I'm doing. Do you want me to bring you guys in a little bit more? I can do that now. I figured it out. Voila. So you can always use your eraser. Get a kneadable eraser. So you don't have to, the first marks you put down probably aren't going to be the marks you're going to stay with. But this is when you can change your marks instead of going into great detail and decide that, oh, no, that's not going to work. And I do a lot of erasing. So her nose is there. She's got a nice, cute little nose. Let's take some of that off. And I'll try not to get too detailed. I have a tendency to get a little too detailed. So you'll see one of her nostrils. The other one maybe just a smidge, not much, just a smidge. So I'm not going to use this picture as my, she's got to look like that. She has a very small amount of so with 3/4, you still have to stay in line with this line here. But you're not seeing the whole lip. So it kind of rounds off on the side where there's less view. And it's usually rounder in the lips on that side and then tapers off here. Now I got a little bit of a thinner, too much of a thin face. I could leave it. She could be more than 3/4, but I'll give her a little bit more of a cheek here. From here to her chin needs to come out just slightly and then goes back in. Because that's the muzzle right here. So your teeth push your lip an area around your nose, like below your nose and to your chin where it starts to come out. It comes out a little bit. Her eyes, now I'm not going to see as much. She has very big eyes. So, and again, it's the same thing. I'm not going to, if you can, don't look at the eye per se. Look at the shape. Look at what the shape is in here. Draw that. Don't draw the eye. Draw the shapes that you see, and it'll be a little easier. So she has very big eyelashes. Even bigger than that. And her, see, I got too much of a bulge in her. You kind of compare things to each other. And then her eyebrows start there. Let's see if this works. Just seeing if I can. Yep. So this eye, from here to the inside of her tear duct, is the same distance from here to here. So measure things. I think this needs to be a little bit slanted more. It can be the slightest amount will change the look. I'm going to start mine about here. Again, she's looking down, so there's not, even though her eyes look really big, there's not much showing. Now, see, there's not a lot of white showing. And there, this part here, small. And then our eyebrows will start in here. She has very, very hairy eyebrows. And her eyelashes are, I think she dips a little bit more. Oh, great, Christine. Ruler. Who's getting the ruler out? And I think I could bring her nose up a little bit. And After you get doing some of these, you'll learn, especially if they're just for pretty faces or whatever, you'll learn what type of eyes you like, shapes, that type of thing. This eye needs to be out more. So you got to remember too, which helps, is the shape of your eye. It's a ball. So the creases that you see are usually curved in such a manner. So you have to remember that. Always remember the shapes as you're drawing things because it'll help you. So her eyelashes come out like this. And this can come down a little more. So she's not got such a bump there. And her neck about here. She's got her nice long neck. She doesn't, her ears don't show, but she's got that funny hat on. Which just gonna throw some of them in there. Okay, so then you can take your stump, start. This girl has a lot of makeup on. So it depends on how much, how much do you want to get detail. Now, she does have a lot of makeup, but if you don't want to put the makeup on, you still have to show that the shadow of the bridge of her nose and the eye shape, how it goes into your head, your eye socket has to show, or it won't give any dimension. Usually in the corners here, they're usually a lot darker. So I like to put a little more shading in there. And right here, you can leave a little bit of highlight on the top of her eyelid, because her eyelid is wrapping around the ball of the eye, so it's going to stick out there, so you want highlight. And then shade on both sides to give that form look. Also this here, the brow bone, usually there's a fat and muscle here, and it kind of it's almost a teardrop shape, you could almost say. Depends how big it is. Some people have smaller areas, but you can highlight there too. Yeah, so it depends how much you want to go into it. See, there's shadows here from her eyelashes, her nose. See, there's a little bit of shading in there and along the sides of her nose, just slightly. But again, you don't have to do that if you just want the round of her nose showing. That's fine for, you know, this type of drawing, not a realistic girl. Put her Cupid's bow in her lip. See you can see the highlight area here because it sticks out. But her lip is shading here and underneath. So it's kind of like a little fat area on both sides of your lip. So I like to put a little more shading there. Just blend it into the lip. Remember, the top lip is usually darker than the bottom lip. She has hers open, but I'm not going to make mine open. And then the cheek, you can just ever so lightly give her a little bit of shadowing there. On here, just to make the cheekbone stand out, you shade in a little area like you would be doing blush when you put on blush. I'll just lightly put some graphite there. You can always take it out if it's too much. At the bottom of your chin line, usually caves in slightly below your cheekbone, and then it comes out slightly. So it's usually a little bit lighter right here. We want to give her a bit of a cheek, so we'll put some guess I should take that line out now. Yeah. Just slightly. Actually, this should be up more because it is a little bit taller there. Questions? Filter them, yeah. Divot. because you're concentrating. I think I'm going to give her a little less. Less of a, like she had a little bump on her nose. And then you can, anywhere where there's shadow, there'll be shadows coming off of these flower thingy madooies. Depending on the light. So it's very easy once you think about things. So we can give her some, finish her eyes at least. So because it's a 3/4 view, you're seeing her eyelashes more on the side. So you won't really see a lot in this area here. Remember the eye is always shaded from the eyelashes. This one here. Give her dark. You see a few flecks, but because we're looking at, basically we're looking at this eye straight on. See the, oop, I don't know if you can see that. Her eyelashes are straight on. You can't see the curve. So they basically come up and then up and then up slightly. So you're not seeing it like this here. You're seeing the shadow, but I'm not going to put the shadow in. So just try to put them in groupings. They look a little more realistic. She's got a lot of mascara on, so you're not gonna. And then we'll take a little. Where's my Sharpie? Hmm. I'll take some highlights. So she doesn't really got a lot of sparkle, but she does have a light area down here. So just take that out. And just put more. She's got quite a bit of shading in here. Let's make her pupils a little bigger. And this here, her part of her other side of her nose there. Take some of that. Okay. So that's basically, if you can put in your lines, your horizontal and vertical lines, so you know where to place your eyes, nose, and mouth, you shouldn't have any problem. I think that is probably the reason why most people don't like doing 3/4 or tilted heads, is because it's hard to place both eyes so that they look the proper way, I guess you could say. But if you can put the lines in, and remember, they should be slightly curved when you're putting them in, because depending on the tilt, so if you're seeing more forehead, that means your tilt is down. So you have to put your lines accordingly. So you might have to do a little bit of figuring out, because there's not really none that I know of, that there's a rule of how spacing should be when they're looking down or looking up. You kind of have to play a bit with it. I know what that picture of one. There's 3/4. I did have, I I didn't print it off. I do have her looking up and looking down too. But see here, the eye, nice and round, but it's slightly oval here. And it's a lot smaller. See how you're not seeing the inside of the tear duct or the other side. So concentrate on the shape of the eyeball when you're drawing, and it should help you. And use your pencil. You know, figure out sizing by, you know, put your pencil down from one end to the other end, see if that matches. Yes, it does. So you'll know the spacing. Look at the corner of her eye. If you were going straight down, it lines up with the corner of her mouth. But it doesn't line up with the wing of her nose. So it's really a lot about studying your reference. For now, if you guys want to do these imaginary girls, get a reference still, because it does help. Now see, I didn't do this exactly, and it doesn't look like her exactly, but it gave me a reference as far as where to place things for the 3/4. So until you get used to it, I would use a reference, and then you're not going to get upset with yourself. So go on and see if you have any fashion magazines, or if I were you, I would go out and buy a hair magazine, because they're great, absolutely great. And this would be awesome for when you do start to do faces in your art journals and you want something with a little bit of attitude. And again, hairstyles too. These are great. Need to find some magazines. Yeah, they're great. I would suggest the hair magazines myself. Any other questions? And you're not going to get, you're going to, you know what? If you have one really good one, you probably will have 10 that you don't like. So don't get upset with yourself. Very, very few people, even artists that have done this forever, don't do it right all the time. You got to try it. And you know what? If you're not sure if it looks right, put it in a mirror and look at it in a mirror, or turn it upside down. Take a picture of it and then look at it. You'll see things when you do that, because it's almost like you have a different eye when you look at things in a mirror or in a picture or online. Yeah, Carol, they do. They look so much different. So anything else you guys want to know? After a while, too, you'll, if you're wanting to do the character girls, whimsy girls, or whatever, I never know what to call them. Whimsy girls, I guess. Um, you'll get your style of the shape of the face, or you might want to just do one type of nose and one type of eye all the time. For me, I like using the magazines and mixing it up every time. Oh, great, Susan. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So next week, what would you like me to do? I guess I better find that uh, tripod seems to shake a bit. I'll have to catch up. This first part in this. Okay, they're all out there for you. Men's faces, sure. Actually, I prefer doing men's faces for some reason. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. See, attitude. Tilt. Tilt of the face. Attitude. Now, this is all graphite and then a little bit of white. Was it the Signo white pen for little highlights in his eyes and his beard? Oh, that's okay, Shauna. Good heavens. From taller to teen, it's hard to make a face look like an 8. Yes, it is. Yeah, I can get into that, Susan. The skull and the positioning of the features. The skull is much bigger than what the features are for a human head, like an adult. So, and they're all kind of scrunched up in one little area. But yeah, we can do that. If you're still having problems, like if you want to draw this type of thing that they actually look like somebody, I strongly suggest using a grid. If you use a grid, you'll find it a whole lot easier. You'll get things down right away where they should be. And then you can, it's just a light grid that you put on. And when you start doing your details, you can take the grid off because you've placed the eyes and the nose and the size of the eyes and that type of thing in the right position. Thanks, Lena. I like this one. He was cool. I like doing beards. And that's just basically shading in, taking away with an eraser, and then reapplying, and then adding some highlight. So there are little tricks. She was from, I can't remember. She was the one married to that child king on Game of Thrones. Can't remember her name. But again, that's just a heavyweight paper, 130 GSM. This was Bristol. It's a lot smoother. This is pencil crayon. Hands and feet, yeah, they can be a problem. Yeah. But again, that can be learned much easily by form, cylinder, that type of thing. And for learning how hand structure is, like the curve of the knuckles, they all line up in a certain curve. See, 3/4 makes a big difference in a painting. Or tilt. That's why I like using a tilt. There's another 3/4. That's a little washed out from the camera, but it's much. Let's see, you gotta, when you're doing portraiture, you have to catch their essence. So with that, I use a grid. Yeah, 3/4 is much more interesting. Well, that's not 1/3, but he's interesting anyways. Let's see. That's a little different. This is, but it's got a tilt. His head, he's looking down slightly, but his eyes are looking up. So again, there's the rule of, now he was about, let's see, 5 years ago. He was about 7 there, 6 or 7. So he's showing me his his tooth he lost. There's Karen's. That's another foreshortened. That's Karen's daughter. But then again, see, the halfway point is here, but we're seeing a whole lot more head. That was my nephew, great nephew. Thanks, Carla. They were fun to do. These are pencil crayons, so a little bit different. It's a lot easier doing a pencil drawing on the tan paper, because then you've already got your mid-tone. Yeah, these were done by photos. What else I got here? Well, that one was, remember this one, guys? Dee Dee was teaching us. Yeah, it's great, Carol. Yeah, draw with Dee Dee. That it was Darcy, wasn't it? 2015. And that one. Yeah, Darcy in the UK. So you can do all, I haven't done a lot. Well, that was one done in 2013. That's just pastels. But again, there's the tilt. She may be head on, but she's got a tilt. So she's got attitude. She's telling a story. So, you know, there's the man coming out of the wall that we did one year. That was pastels. That was done, I don't know when. Now these are off. The eye is off. This eye's too big. I think this was done 2013. And this one's off. The nose is off because I didn't line it up. And that was pastels also. So this lip should have been up, and the nose is off. So save them, no matter what, if they turned out or not, save them, because you'll learn from them. That's when I started. There were some lips I started. Yeah, save them. Oh, no, they wouldn't. You just have to practice. Like, it's just practice, guys. This Bristol paper, I must admit, I didn't care for, there is a bit of a tooth to this one. I think I should have used the opposite side, the smooth side, because it left marks in the pencil crayon. And I don't like that. So I would like the that's the only one I've done in this book. But yeah. So play. That's the pumpkin guy. That's pastel. Here's Janet. Yeah. Okay, so go and find some books. Practice the 3/4. You don't have to get detailed with it, but if you can just figure out where the eyes go, don't do a whole lot of shading, just the bare minimum in around the nose and the eyes. And practice it. Do a bunch of them to see where you're going wrong. because you will have a lot of wrong ones. But don't get discouraged. That's how you learn. That's how you get better. You have to do some bad work to get some good work. All right. So next week, I guess we'll look at men and maybe some children too, if we have enough time. All right. And then probably the next, we might get into hands after that, because I know a lot of people like doing hands. They're not that difficult. It's, again, it has to do with perspective and drawing shapes first. Hey, Colleen. Okay, you're coming up next. Awesome. I want to draw Johnny Depp by putting tracing paper. Go ahead, Eileen. Yeah, good old Johnny. All right, well, I'll let you guys go. So go and do some homework. If you want my advice or critique what you've done, please let me know that, because I know some people don't like to be critiqued. But if you want some help, let me know. And it's best to get a hold of me on Twitter. You can private message me if you want. You don't have to put it out there for everyone to see if you're a little bit shy. All right. And it's just Kathy Arbor on Twitter. All right. Well, we'll see you at Colleen's then, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.